everybody. I hope that all of you are in good health. We are going through these uncertain times, but I believe that you, your loved ones, and everybody, all of them are in good health. So, today, we have a session named How to Write a Catchy White Paper. So all of us here have today assembled to understand how to write a catchy white paper. However, before starting this, I would like to understand, or I would like, I believe that you guys very well know what a technical writer does, what basically technical writing is. So first, the agenda of today's class is obviously to understand the purpose of white paper, the goals of white paper, how to write a white paper that will be much benefited in a B2B scenario, that is business to business or business to customer scenario. So we will be going ahead and we will be discussing all of that. And as these come under technical writing, so for the initial few minutes, we will be discussing what technical writing is. And then we will go ahead with a white paper format and template and case studies and examples. And then I will take your questions by the end of the class. Let's do it. Let's park our questions so that I can give you a better answer to those, not to break the flow, obviously. And so, guys, hi. My name is Aparna. So I will be your trainer for the next 1 hour. Let's make full use of this entire session so that we benefit and it is of some value to your knowledge. So now let's begin with this session, with this webinar, wherein I believe that most of you would know what technical writing is or what technical writers do. So basically, a technical writing is a form of writing. There are various forms of writing: business writing, technical writing, academic writing, scientific writing, medical writing, and many more. But technical writing is a form of writing where the author is writing about a particular subject that requires direction or would require introduction or would require instruction or would require explaining of anything or any product. The style of writing for this technical writing is very, very different from other forms of writing. It also has a different purpose and different characteristics. The style of this writing, the tone of this writing, and there are several other nuances that are to be followed for technical writing. And as white paper is a part of technical writing, so of course, those nuances are to be followed here as well for white paper. So what is technical writing process or what is white paper writing process? What are the things that we need to keep in mind while we are doing some form of technical writing? Or let's suppose, or let's understand that where is technical writing relevant in current times today? So today, technical writing encompasses all documentation of complex technical processes. It includes reports, executive summary statements, briefs, and white papers, of course, user manuals, or I can say scientific assumptions, and many more things. So anytime all of these writing, when we convey these writing, there are few things that we keep in mind. The first thing is audience analysis. Of course, for any form of writing, whether it's academic, scientific, creative, business, we need to analyze the audience. So that part remains the same for technical writing as well. When we start writing a white paper, or when we start writing, or when we start doing technical writing, so we need to keep in mind what sort of audience are we writing for? Are we writing it for general audience? Are we writing it for some specific sector? Are we writing it for C-suite? So with C-suites, I mean the CEOs, the CHROs, the CXOs. If we are focused on writing for the C-suite, our tone and style of writing will be completely different. If we are writing for the common man or for the general audience, our tone will be different, style will remain the same. Or if we go ahead and we are writing for our employees or for any sector, so the tone becomes sector specific. Which sector, what do I mean here? So there are several sectors, like let's suppose retail sector, construction sector. There are several other sectors like manufacturing sector, hospitality sector. So all these sectors, they have different tones, but obviously the style remains the same. Now, whenever we do any form of technical writing, so technical writing is basically done, guys, to provide a solution or to ease out the complex technical things into a common language that is understood by all. So which means here that we do not like, or we do not take it as a thing that everything has to be put in here, which means do not feel like you need to say everything at once, whether it's a white paper or it's any report or it's any other form of like scientific assumption if we talk about in technical writing. So moving forward, you could also tell people whenever we begin writing, writing any technical document. So first and foremost, it is important. So yeah, so what happens is when we write a technical paper, it is very important that we go ahead and tell the people what it is about in the first glance. Like here, this is not a technical paper. This is of course a slide. So here our first slide is let's understand what exactly is the white paper. So now moving forward, we will understand what exactly a white paper is. I would like to believe that most of us would be aware of what a white paper is and what relevance does it carry. But I will tell you what a white paper is, just in short, and then we shall go ahead with the format and various other things for these. Now, moving forward, white papers. What are white papers? White papers are, guys, great examples of marketing collateral. White papers are great examples of marketing collaterals that exhibit your authority over a chosen niche. So what is a niche? A niche is a specific category. What is a niche? A niche is a specific category. So what do we understand by a category? Like we are writing for a certain category. Like let's suppose that we work for a finance background. So finance is my niche. I work for retail background. So retail is my niche. Now moving forward, as I said that white papers are great examples of marketing collaterals of that exhibit your authority over a chosen niche. So let's understand what a marketing collateral is. A marketing collateral. What is a marketing collateral? So content marketers across the industries across the industries, they tend to go ahead and they produce several reports or white papers about the issues that are going on around in the industry. So those are called collaterals. So based on these, white papers are published. So now my marketing collateral, guys, is also a collection of media, that is used to inform, educate, and guide prospects and customers about how their challenges can be and how we can go ahead and we can provide a solution to that challenge. So basically, for several industries and several companies, this also becomes a sales pitch. Marketing collateral also becomes a sales pitch for several organizations or companies. So companies, public institutions, governments, universities, and individuals publish white papers to address an industry problem or purpose their solution to it. So this way, white paper is an explanatory document. It describes a particular problem. It goes ahead and it provides you solutions. It also can be used, a white paper, not only by the companies and organizations, it's also used for by government agencies as well. So this can explain a policy. This can provide solutions to any problems that are going on. It has the methodology of how you can go ahead for solving that problem and what are the implications of that problem in the current scenario. Now, as I told you that people use technical writing or white papers, few of technical writing aspects, or basically this white paper as a marketing collateral. So this is very important. This becomes very important as a lead generation tool as well. I hope most of us would be knowing what a lead generation tool, what lead generation is. But if you do not know, I'll tell you, lead generation is generating those leads or those those platforms from where you can grab clients for your own companies or your own businesses. Now, several times white papers are not sales pitches. Several times white papers are not sales pitches. They are in-depth report or guide about a specific topic. Specific topic means wherein an expert writes his expert advices regarding any specific topic or any specific sector. Now, as we have already discussed that this white paper is of course providing a solution to a problem that is going on. It also educates the reader, of course, to solve any issue if there is any. So now how white paper looks like. Have you ever imagined or have you ever seen or have you ever got a chance to write a white paper? So white paper, actually there is no no specific format of a white paper or any specific template of a white paper. What happens is content marketeers, the content marketeers across industries use white papers as potential tools for sales. But a lot of effort, time, resources, and many more things go into creating it. So now in this, basically what we are trying to understand is that white papers are long form content that are intended to educate, that are intended to inform, or that are intended to provide a solution to the target audience. They delve deeper into the issues or the trends that are going on and policies, and they explain the causes, implications of, like in the previous slide we read, the implications of whatever problem is there, and the benefits that the solutions could provide. Now, moving forward, as we are talking about how white paper looks like, so basically white papers are categorized into two parts or into two types, I must say, not two parts, into two types. So there are academic white papers or there are commercial white papers. Now, of course, this thing would be arising in your mind. What is the basic difference between the white paper and what is commercial white paper, and what is the basic difference between the academic white paper? So moving forward, actually the basic difference between them is the author who is writing that and the goal. So the two differences between the commercial white paper and academic white paper is their author, which means who is writing it, and the goal of that white paper. So the author in ordinary or in a commercial white paper. So in ordinary or in commercial white paper are created by members of any company or any team or by experts those are involved in that team. As for the approval of the document, it is the management of the company that is responsible for approving that document, and that is required for approving the document and then publishing it for the general people or the general audience or the C-suites or whosoever you are targeting. I mean, whosoever is your target audience. So as a result here, the white paper presents the company, the product, the services itself, and the author often sits on the sideline. So this is what a commercial this is what the author of a commercial white paper does. Now, if we talk about the academic white paper, so in academic white paper, the author acts as a central figure. Why do I say that the author acts as a central white figure? Because he or she, the author, bears the responsibility not only for the published results, but also for the studies that form that white paper's basis. So this is a huge difference. If we are talking about any commercial white paper, the author becomes the main point of difference. And if we are talking about academic white paper, if we are talking about commercial white paper, the author is in the sideline. But if we talk about the academic white paper, the author is the basis, the central figure of the entire white paper that's going to be published. Now, moving forward, the goal. What is the difference between the goal of a commercial white paper or an academic white paper? The goal is basically, in order, why are commercial white papers written? Commercial white papers are written in order to make a profit, because commercial white papers aims to highlight all the benefit of the product and the services in order to encourage the potential customer to make the necessary decision and take action. However, the goal of the academic paper is highly different from the goal of any commercial paper. Commercial paper are basically for profit making. Academic paper is to make the result of any research for education purposes, basically. So any to make the results of the research for the public to be educated, basically, and make a contribution to the development of any subject. If a white paper is written for the humanities department, let's suppose, that's for the basic education of the general masses or the students of humanities or the faculty of humanities of, or that sort. That is basically academic. So today we will understand the format of commercial white paper. So what do you suppose is the best structure of any white paper? What can you say is the best structure of any white paper? As we have already discussed all of these, that in marketing, a white paper is a long form of content. However, we will discuss what is the size of the content and stuff. But then what is the best structure of any white paper? So let me be very honest with you, as I have written several white papers while I was working with a reputed organization. So, and I have written white papers for different sectors. So for different sectors, if I can tell you, I have written for finance, I have written for retail, I have written for telecom, I have written for technology. So I can tell you that the format of white paper is not constant. If I tell you that yes, it has, of course, it has title, it has the executive summary, but then if I talk about the further whatever is inside the white paper, that's quite different. In fact, in several sectors, you will only find the title, not the executive summary, because executive summary is basically kept for reports, not for white papers. In few of the sectors, you could find executive summary, not in most of the sectors. Now, every company or every author has their own way of creating a structure for their white papers. White papers, they often follow white papers, they would often follow whatever the author's thinking process is. So a template of any white paper would show you the clarity of the thought of the author. If I tell you the template, what do you understand by template of any white paper? So every organization, guys, they have different they have a different template for the white paper. As I told you, like I have worked with 4 and 5 reputable organizations wherein I was into business writing, into scientific writing, into technical writing. So here, all those organizations, they had different templates for their for different sectors as well for writing these white papers. Now, for example, if I tell you, if you are authoring a white paper on a new product, then you will have to describe the market opportunity around that product. Then what is the market opportunity around that product, or the deficiency of the right solution around that product, and why is this product needed right now in the market? So basically the problem here is that that product is not available in the market, or if it is available, if any other product of that sort is available, that's not contributing equally good to the market. So here you have come up with a new product. So you understand the market opportunity. You also define the deficiency of the right solution around that problem. The reason why your product is the best. This is why you organize a white paper and you put it into public, or you send it to different organizations as a solution to the current problems that are going on. So for this, you would have to create a structure and stick to it all through the documents. Like if I own a company, so if I release my first white paper, I'll stick to that format for the rest of the white papers that go out from my company. Now, some of the white papers, if I tell you, so they they give out just the terminologies, just the terminology definitions, or they only give out the core messages. So with core messages, like, not, as I said, not all the white papers are profit based. So few white papers which are not profit based. So those white papers are basically used to go ahead and provide core message prevailing in the current situation. Like if I take an example of a sanitizer. So most of us, of course, I would want to believe that most of us would be knowing what an alcohol sanitizer was, or most of us would also be using. But this COVID brought it into our minds that okay, there is this alcohol based sanitizer that is good for health, that we should use. So this became a new product, and most of the companies that were using mild sanitizers have also come up with alcohol based sanitizers. And then you will also find white papers around these new products for you to understand that okay, this product was earlier mild, but now it is very well, the product has been launched with alcohol or with essential ingredients that are required to fight COVID-19. So this is how the basic structure of any white paper works. So if I would tell you in essence, there is no unique structure to a white paper. There is no unique structure to a white paper. It evolves based on the needs of the target audience. So once again, I would like to reiterate my point. There is no unique structure of a white paper. If somebody asks you, you just tell them that it evolves based on the needs of the target audience. Now, moving forward, I would like to understand, most of you are worried about, most of you are worried about what is the length of a white paper. And most of you would understand that white papers are lengthy documents, those are government documents, those are technical documents, so maybe I'll not be able to understand and stuff and all those things. But then it's not the case. It's not the case. Here, white paper's length also evolves as your topic evolves. The length of your white paper also evolves as your topic evolves, and there is no such thing as an ideal length for a white paper. There is no such thing as an ideal length for the white paper. So, however, although there is no length capacity, there is no ideal length format for a white paper, but every page must add incremental value to the reader. Every page should add or must add, let me not quote it as should, it must add an incremental value to the reader. So now, why is white paper so important? Why are we having this session today? Why are we talking about white papers? So through white papers, you can keep the curious reader hooked on with the new things that they weren't aware of in every sentence that you put out in a white paper. As we have already discussed that yes, white paper is basically a document that provides a problem, that provides a solution to any problem that is currently prevailing in the business ecosystem or political ecosystem, or let's suppose national ecosystem. So as a solution, when you put out your white paper as a company or as a government firm, so your basic idea should be to hook the reader with new things around what they don't know around the situation that is happening. So it is easy to get carried away by what you write. As I had already discussed in the beginning of the session, that this is not the place where you provide every information. This is the reports, the white papers, the scientific assumptions. All these places are not the place where you provide each and every detail. No, you have to be very selective. You have to be very selective. So it is very easy to get carried away by all that you want to write, but your readers may not be interested in knowing them. This is the toughest task. So here, basically, whenever we write anything, guys, whenever we write anything, we categorize it into 5 parts. So what are those 5 parts? Those 5 parts are, first is pre-writing. When I talk about pre-writing, what basically is pre-writing? Pre-writing is when we brainstorm about the topic, the what topic are we going to write upon, what is the problem that we are going to write upon, and then we note down an idea that okay, this is the idea that I'm going ahead and I'll have to write a topic on, which would benefit the audience that I'm targeting, the analysis of audience that I have done, whom I'm going to target with my white paper. So I will go ahead, I'll note down the ideas that would be beneficial for the readers, for my readers. And then I'll note down that idea during the pre-writing. And I will also do some preliminary research around that topic, that how beneficial can my white paper be to my target audience. The second is drafting. First was pre-writing, the second is drafting. So what do we do in drafting? So in drafting, we go ahead and we basically put all the points, all the researches that we have collated. So now when we have the research collated, so we could just cull out important points and we could put it in the format that we want, or the style or the flow. We could check the flow, how the flow of the white paper should be, and all those things. Then the third part comes the revision. Once we have put in all the parts in a flow, so now we will go ahead and we will revise how the document would look. The fourth is editing and proofreading. The fourth is editing and proofreading. So for editing, if I say we edit if there are any minor grammatical errors, or if any sentence structure needs to be changed, or the flow of the content needs to be changed, or anything of that sort. So we change it into the editing part. And before publishing, we do the proofreading. So in proofreading, we should have an eye for the detail, wherein we go ahead and we tend to understand that if there are any errors that we have overlooked while we were doing the revision part or the editing part. So between the editing part and the proofreading part, guys, there has to be a difference of 24 hours. Between the editing part and the proofreading part, there has to be a difference of 24 hours. Only then you will be able to cite the errors if you have not fixed any. Then comes the fifth and the final part, that is publishing. Publishing any document, whether it's your academic, scientific, business, or technical writing. So then we go ahead, and once we have checked everything, we publish our document. So that is the same thing that's followed with white paper as well. If you want to know more about these things, like what are the nuances of writing, or what flow, what style, what tone, what structure to be followed, or different forms of writing like business writing, academic writing, scientific writing, medical writing. So I would suggest you guys that Henry Harwin has come up with, there is a core course with Henry Harwin, which is of digital content writing. You should go ahead and you should give it a try, because with that course, that is a 32 hours course, and in that you will be able to understand how the content market is going on these days. So how you can contribute as a content writer to the market, how you can benefit from that. So that's the course. If you want to know more about all the things that we have discussed right now in detail, so that course is one of the best courses, even if you check it on Google. Now, I spoke about the 5 stages that we need to follow for every writing. I'll just repeat it: pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing and proofreading, and number 5th was publishing. Now, moving forward, we were discussing about the length of the white paper. And if, as I said, that there is no ideal length of a white paper, the white paper format is very lightweight, basically. And it may not have, like, this is a general concept that I'm telling you, it may not have more than 5,000 to 7,500 words. If I say 5,000 to 7,500 words, it ranges somewhere between 16 to 25 pages. Around 5,000 to 7,500 words, it ranges somewhere between 14, 15 to 25 pages. The daily, like somebody is asking, do the daily COVID-19 report released by the health department is a white paper? That is basically that is basically a press release or a news formation that they are providing you. So white paper is a written content. White paper is a written content that's published on their website. If you go and check it on their website, that's published on their website. So now moving forward, whenever a company hires a content writer, or let's suppose a government hires, whenever a company hires a white paper writer or government hires a white paper writer, so what happens is, at that point of time, basically, they want experts in that niche. We have already discussed this. They want experts in their niche. They want experts to write down their papers. So if we talk about, let's suppose, the person who asked the question previously, so that person was talking about COVID-19. So what better topic now than COVID-19 to discuss about a white paper? So if my organization or if your organization would want to write about COVID-19, they would want experts in that field. With experts in that field, I would not tell you that they would want you to be a healthcare worker. No. But experts in that field means you should be expert in handling data. You should be expert in handling case studies. You should be expert in handling researches, all those three things. Because if we are going to provide something, some solution on COVID-19, for let's suppose business, let's suppose for business ecosystem itself, I own a business, you own a business, I am releasing a white paper, so I am releasing it B2B, which is business to business. If I am releasing a white paper business to business, so I will have a solution to the current problem that is going on right now. I'll give you an example of supply chain. If I'm talking about supply chain, so what happens is supply chain management. So I will, this is the problem. I'll give you a solution to that problem. But how will I give you the solution to that problem if I do not know the subject well? If I do not know to handle the data well? If I do not know to understand the secondary, or I don't know to do secondary research well? So here by experts, we mean these things, not that we want you to be healthcare workers or doctors or something like that. No, you have to be expert in handling those sectors basically. So moving forward, whenever there is a press release released by government or by any organization, they have a set of research specialists. They have a set of experts who go ahead and who do their white paper writing. So white paper writing is one of the highest paid jobs in the industry. If I tell you, white paper writers are paid really, really well. If I tell you about white papers, so there are press release writers, there are copywriters who are paid handsome salary. White paper writers are also paid handsome salary. Now, you should go ahead, and whenever you decide to pursue this as a career, so you should give wings of research to your white paper. Whenever you go ahead and you want to get involved into white paper writing, so you should give wings to your research. So with giving wings to your research, I mean that you should try to become an expert in secondary research, or basically if you can do primary research, because there are several organizations. If I talk about Gartner, and there are few other organizations, so they basically do primary researches uh, on the real time issues that are faced by industries, that are faced by organizations across the world, across India, and across several continents. So here, if I talk about if we talk about Gartner, so Gartner has, let's talk about employee value proposition. Nowadays, many people are talking about layoffs and stuff. So Gartner has a real-time solution for these options, how to do cost optimization and stuff, and they have also released white papers. If you want to see or check Gartner's white papers, GARTNER, you can go to their websites and you can check it from there. Now, moving forward, you should also use visuals. You should always use visuals. With visuals, I mean, whenever we do white paper writing, we should use charts, we should use relevant pictures, we should use graphs, we should use blurbs and call outs to weave a story as they get consumed easily. You can later use them in infographics as reusable components to market or distribute your white paper as well. So this is how basically this fares. So you should use visual to make it more attractive, to make it more readable, or to gain your users or to gain your audience's attendance. Now, you should not refrain from providing real-time examples. You should not refrain from providing real-time examples. So with providing real-time examples, what I mean is real life stories add authenticity to your central theme of the white paper or the problem that you are talking about. So when you are providing a solution to a problem through your white paper, it is always, it is always advisable that you put in the real life scenario as well. Then you should also go ahead and you should provide the reference and footnotes for if you have taken any reference. Now, what do you understand by reference? What is referencing? What are footnotes? What is citation? How can you do that? If you're writing a white paper, what should be your point of reference? So here with point of reference, I mean if you have used any relevant sources to take reference from. With relevant sources, I mean any government organization's website, or like United Nations website, World Bank's website, or any such website from where you have taken from where you have taken your information and you have tried to put it in the white paper because that sounded relevant to put as for the scenario that you are explaining. You should always give a reference to those to avoid plagiarism. You should always give a reference to those sources to avoid plagiarism, and you should do that either in the references section or in the footnote. If you want to learn more about how to do this, how to search for relevant sources, how to understand what a relevant source is, how to access relevant sources, for all these things, what is citation, what is style guide, and what are all these things, how to avoid plagiarism. So for this, again, Henry Harvin has come up with a specific course which is for technical writing, wherein all these things, basically medical writing, research writing, thesis writing, dissertation writing, user manual, scientific assumptions, all of these things are discussed in detail. If you want to learn more about it, you can go ahead and you can also join this technical writing course apart from the digital content writing course that Henry Harvin provides. And guys, no other time or no best time to enroll into these courses. Ask why? Because this is the time when we are working from home. We are home. Our travel time is less. Less what? We don't travel. So there is no travel time. We can utilize that time to stay still and upskill. So this is the best time that we add some feathers into our cap. So that's something which is which will be good for your which will be good to go ahead for your future endeavors if you want to do that. Now, moving forward, whenever you are doing this white paper, you should also take, this is the content digital writing course that I was talking about that is provided by Henry Harvin. If you want to enroll, you can just note down the name of this content digital writing course. That's called CDCW. Now you know few things about what content writing is. I don't know if you know about several tools that are used in content writing and stuff. With this course, you will understand what content writing is, what are the various nuances, the different types of writing, which industries to approach, how to select your niche, how to do editing, proofreading, plagiarism, and stuff. And you would know several tools that will help you in understanding your content or going ahead and publishing your content better on any platform, whether it's Twitter, it's LinkedIn, it's Pinterest, or you want to do it on Quora, any place. Now, moving forward, here, this is how many of you know about Wolfram Alpha? This is one of the best tools. As you have asked a very relevant question. Who was that person who had asked this question? Just a moment. Vadivel Murugan. So you had asked this question, a very relevant question. Is it mandatory to have this certification to become a content writer? certification is not required. But how many of you know about Wolfram Alpha? I would like to know. So I'll tell you what Wolfram Alpha is. Okay, Radhakrishnan says that he knows about white paper. I would like to believe that few of you would know, of course. So moving forward, what Wolfram Alpha is and what would it do? What wonders would it do to your writing? So as it's stated here, Wolfram Alpha calls itself a computational knowledge engine. So what do you understand by Wolfram Alpha? Just a moment, guys. So it calls itself a computational knowledge engine. What does that mean? Let's see. So Wolfram Alpha is basically a search engine. Do you see here? I hope you guys are able to see my screen. So if you see here, this is the interface of Wolfram Alpha. So Wolfram Alpha is basically a search engine for facts and data with calculation functionality built in. It is an extremely robust and powerful tool for research. So if you check here, there are several categories here. For physics, you have for chemistry, you have for engineering, you have for plotting and graphics, you have geometry, you have earth sciences, materials, political geography, entertainment, and stuff. Let's talk about, I'll just show you how to use it. You can just note down the name and you can use it later. Population of India currently. So this gives you an exact result, and the best part is that it gives you a result from the government sources. If I scroll it down, I'll just show you. Can you see it has the estimate till 2027? Then it has the population, the demographics shows the population, the density. It also shows you the age distribution. It shows you the largest cities and various other queries if you want to have any. So you could just note down the names. So if you do these technical writing courses, these content writing courses, you will know more about these tools that will help you in writing better. Now, moving forward, as we have discussed about the tools and about all these things, let's check some of the templates of these white papers. So these templates of this is one from the financial services. Let's check this. So the presentation that I'm doing here, you can obviously get this for free. I'll just share the link. So now these are the examples wherein you can go ahead and you can just check it. So if you want to know about, if you want to know more about how to write your introduction, how to write your headline, and all these things, it is better to go ahead with the course. For business proposal, that is what Karthik, I'm telling you that this is just a 1-hour webinar. So here I am covering only white paper. If you want to learn more about the technical topics, you should, it's my recommendation, of course, because there are several students who have been benefited from the courses, whether content writing course, if you are very much interested in understanding various forms of writing, or the technical writing course, if you are solely interested in technical writing course. So this is the best opportunity that you can go ahead and you can focus your COVID-19, this lockdown period with. Now, just give me a moment. I think there is a question. Do you see this white paper? It's published through Siemens. Siemens is a finance company. It handles basically the financial, things. So financial services. It handles financial services. So here comes the name of the company. Then you have a graphic. Then is the title with a strap line. So this is the title, which is seizing the digitalization opportunity. And then they have a strap line. What is the strap line? An insight paper examining how organizations are employing groundbreaking financing approaches to harness the benefits of technological innovation in industry, healthcare, and infrastructure. So in the first strap line itself, of course, the title matters, but in the strap line itself, they have grabbed our attention that this insight is going to be important for me if I am somebody who wants to know about the technology that's evolving. So here, moving ahead, Is white paper relevant for literary writing? There is a question, I'm sorry. So is white paper relevant for literary writing? I did not understand your question. So if you could please frame it a little well, so I'll just answer it. Now, if we scroll it down, guys, do you see the table of contents? So here are the key findings. They could have gone through some surveys, or they could have conducted interviews or stuff, or they could have surveyed around what is the current scenario in the industry. Then they have provided you the key findings that they're going to discuss in this entire paper. Then they have drafted the introduction wherein they talk about globalization, competition, the introduction, and after that, the globalization, competition, and the need to grasp new technologies or evolving technologies because the business landscape is changing every day. Then they have this technological change wherein they are focusing on innovation in automation. Then how can this company finance and help other companies to access these new technologies? And then there is a conclusion. As I see, this is a 13 pager. So now, moving forward, it's written here that a white paper is issued by this Siemens Financial Services with its copyright. So this is the copyright of this company. So these are the key findings. No, pamphlets are not white papers. Pamphlets, brochures, these things are different. White papers are a solution to any problem. So do you see, if you would, I would just take you through this. So these are the key findings. Do you see the first line? If you read, the pace of technological change has increased in the last decade, fueled by a globalized marketplace and reduced cost of entry to international markets, allowing even small companies to access to global opportunities. So here there is a problem. The problem is that the technological change has increased the markedly in the last decade. So all of us as a business landscape is disrupting or changing. So all the organizations, they have to step up and they have to understand how to be relevant in these changing scenarios. So then that was the problem that has been discussed further here with the introduction. And then in the, so this is globalization has increased competition, then technological change, then there is this automation that has been discussed in large in different sectors like manufacturing sector. Then you have healthcare. As I'm scrolling down, I hope you can see this. Then you have infrastructure sector. How are these technological changes disrupting these sectors? Now they have come out with a solution, the financing and access to new technology, how Siemens can help them. So here through this, they have discussed about the problem. They have discussed about the opportunities that Siemens can go ahead and that can provide to the organizations currently. Now, one moment, I'll just show it to you. Now, Siemens has provided them a solution that how they can help. So total cost of ownership and all those things, Siemens can help them with that. Performance-based financing that Siemens can do. Then energy efficient technology financing can also be done by Siemens. So this is how they have provided a solution to any organizations if they are willing to take this. Then comes the conclusion. Then of course, I think you will have some contacts. So this is the head office or the office from where this was published. This is the contact of that office or the address of that office. So this is how basically a white paper looks. Discussing that how will you promote your white paper? If you own an organization, how will you promote your white paper? I have put it in the chat. So I hope you guys are able to, of course, see this. So this is the link for this PPT. How to find jobs. You will find jobs. You will have to look for these jobs on LinkedIn and several other websites. So here, before that, let's understand how to promote your white paper. So there are many effective ways to promote your white paper. There are many effective ways to promote your white paper. What are those ways? You can create a landing page and offer information in exchange for a subscription, guys. Now, you can basically create a landing page and offer information in exchange for a subscription. So how to create a landing page? As I've already explained it to you that these things are discussed in very much detail in the content writing courses or the technical courses that Henry Arvin offers. Now you can also make you can also publish it if you own a company, or if you are an employee, you can just put it on your company's website or your company's blog. You can organize a newsletter or use your own subscription base or subscribers base. Of course, if you have a website, then this becomes pretty easy. So how to build a website is also very well discussed in the digital content writing course with Henry Harvin. So advertise it in social networks and search engines. Give it to journalists, of course, but then for that you will have to have a very well, connection. Now, then also you can make a presentation with the help of the sales managers. Like if it is an organization, so they could make a presentation with the help of the sales managers, and then they can go ahead and present it to different organizations to sell out their white paper as a solution. Now, moving forward, what kind of tone will you use while you're writing a white paper? As this is a technical document, highly formal tone. No flowery language, no description required. Highly formal tone. So this is how you go ahead and you approach writing your white paper for your organization or for your uh, own company or like that. Can it be released on yearly basis? So somebody named Dell, I think it's the name of the laptop. So not on yearly basis, it is sometime done quarterly, sometime done fortnightly. It depends on how the problem is evolving. So this is not only done by government, this is also done by private firms. So that's why. So here, before we end this up, so it has a detail of all the questions that you're asking me. So right now, I was here to give you a basic understanding of what a white paper is, how a white paper looks, which industry uses white paper. As I said, almost all the industry uses white paper. So now research, so that is why, of course, the title has to be catchy, has to be SEO friendly. Now, what is SEO again? You will ask. That is search engine optimization. So here with the courses that I discussed, whether that's content writing course, digital content writing course, or with the technical writing course, you will understand what SEO is, how SEO matters, how to choose keywords, how to write a good title, how to write the entire piece, and all these things. Now, somebody is also asking that how far white papers are used by, a lot of white paper is used by research scholars, Sunny. So he's asking how far white papers are used by research scholars in academic field. So in the beginning of the session, of course, Sunny, I just explained that there are two forms of white papers, academic white papers or commercial white papers. So if we are talking about scholarly white papers, so academic white papers are in huge demand. So of course they are used in the academic field. Now there's another question. Of course, there are freelancers in our country. There are freelancers outside the country as well. In fact, right now outside the country, you will find several freelancers who write white papers for very, very huge or very, very big organizations. Now, moving forward, yes, we have freelancers here in the country and outside country, of course. Now, in the content writing course or in the technical writing course, guys, you will also be told how to get freelancing courses. What are the websites from where, sorry, how to get freelancing jobs? Where are the websites from where you can get jobs? I also just saw somebody asking that how can I look for jobs? So through these courses, you will understand which industries you could focus on for looking for job, how can you look for jobs in these industries, and what are the best ways to understand or to approach somebody in that industry to get a job. So previously people who have done these content writing courses or digital writing courses or the technical writing courses, they have benefited a lot. Most of them have been placed as well because Henry Harvin also provides internship. Now, just let's do a quick recap because I have answered all the questions that have been asked. So we discussed what a good white paper should be and shouldn't be. We shouldn't be using flowery language. We should have professional tone. We should have a formal tone. We should provide the readers unique, valuable, and well researched insights on one specific topic. So we should not slap together thin content and make it look nice. So we should just put the white paper around what is the problems that the organization is facing, or the industry or the business landscape is facing, or the political landscape is facing. So now, no, there is another question somebody is asking, that for becoming a freelancer, is there any age limitation? No, of course not. For becoming a freelancer, there is no age limitation. Only talent is required. Only talent is required. I know freelancers who are just 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, and they are earning very handsomely. They are into college, but they are also earning handsomely. We do not basically include FAQ section in a white paper. Generally, we do not include, but if there is a need, that depends on the format of your company. So somebody asked that can we include FAQ section in a white paper? Generally, we don't. Now, I also walked you through the complete writing process to produce any final document. I will reiterate it again. So pre-writing, drafting, revising, editing and proofreading, final, publishing. Now, we have also discussed, so how will you do this on your white paper? So how will you promote your white paper once you have written it? Now let's see what are the few more tips. A white paper is different from a sales product pitch. Yeah, as you were asking, is it a brochure or is it a user manual? No, it's not. It is a sales pitch, but it's not written that way. Here, a problem is discussed first, then what is the agenda around that problem, and then what is the solution to that problem. Now, this is not basically a promotional, but a beneficial set of document, not a promotional, but a beneficial set of document that addresses your problem and can be used to generate leads. So as I said that you should, or you must include all the like data, like charts or pie charts or all those things to make it data centric. Depends on what is your topic. Now use it with pie chart, bar graphs, and other infographics to make it informative. Especially describe the problem of different subsections of the target audience. As we had seen in the Siemens, that it checked on infrastructure, it checked on manufacturing, it checked on healthcare. So there were different sectors in which the problem was addressed. Now, just I see one more question. Give me a moment. As I told you, Sani, how much can I learn as a freelancer while also being a full-time student? How much can I earn? That depends on your talent, Sunny. So you are asking how much can you earn as a freelancer while also being a full-time student. So I'll just show you one thing. So she is Shreya Patar. So she is just a student, merely 22 or 21 years old. So she has made a website and she earns in lakhs. So it depends on what your talent is. You can just note down her name. You can go through a website. You can check what she does. She basically does brand marketing. So she helps you uplift your brand. So she does LinkedIn marketing, social media content, website copy, blogs and articles. So you can just note down her name and you can just see, and you can also see the testimonials that people who have worked with her, like people from around the world. As you can see, the testimonials suggest. So you can just check her website. Her website is Shreya Writes, I think, Shreya Content Writer. So it basically depends on your talent, that how well you grasp, how many tools do you know, how do you leverage your content, where are the places where you publish your content, how do you market your content, all those things. So Maya is asking, what are the typical rates for doing a white paper in the B2B and B2C sector, respectively, as a freelancer? So these things are not something that I can just tell you in a minute or two. So for these, you will always, as I said, there are these courses wherein these things are discussed in detail so that you understand how to put your pricing. whether to put your pricing word-wise or whether to put your pricing on hourly basis. So here, as we have almost come to the end of this session, so all these questions related to job or related to freelancing that you have or related to how to do the pricing and stuff, this is the best platform where you can get an information of these. So you can just note down these numbers if you want to go ahead and enroll with the content digital writing course, or if you want to go ahead and enroll on the with the technical writing course, you can just note it down.